you, Coach. Do you subscribe to the fact that the first home game after a road trip is similar to another road game?
Obviously, the West Coast road trips have always been things that people talk about, but I think us and a lot of other teams probably do it the same way now, and that's probably changed over the last 5 to 10 years, is that we fly back the day after, try to get reacclimated with another day's of sleep. And, depending on where you are, you fly back at, a little bit earlier to try to get back on East Coast time as well as you can. But between that, having an extra day, playing at 8:30 at night, like, there's no excuses. You come back and the challenging part of tonight is not the road trip. The challenging part of the night's Houston.
Coach, obviously Houston has a lot of different guys that can impact the game offensively, Russell Westbrook among them. It seems he's bypassing the three-point shot and looking to shoot more twos, get closer to the rim. How does that change from a defensive standpoint, how you approach trying to limit his impact?
I don't know that you necessarily guard him any different than you have before from the standpoint of how you'd like to guard him. They're just the floor's so open. There's 4 shooters around him. He's great, obviously, in transition. He's elite. But then, they've become unbelievable against the double now when people are running at James. And part of the reason is because when Russ catches it, he can catch it on the run and drive it, or he can cut and make plays both as the cutter and as a rebounder. He's always been a great rebounder from a guard spot. So they just put a lot of pressure on you, and his ability to attack the paint or be a threat to attack the paint, and get to the line is really difficult.
Houston takes some abuse for the aesthetics of their game. As soon as a coach, you just see the results in the execution.
I think they're one of the best teams in the NBA. They've figured out how to play to the strengths of their team on both ends of the floor. And, they have one of the best isolation players to ever play the game. They've got another guy who was an MVP 3 years ago standing right next to him. Those guys are going to be able to break defenses down and make plays. And I think they've figured out what works best for them. And then on the other end, the switching is very effective because they're all so strong. And they all hold their ground. And, we've talked a little bit about that. One of the keys to that is there's really not a guy that doesn't have good size in their lineup that plays. And so that makes the switching ever more easy. I think 20 years ago, teams probably had a bunch of post guys that they would feed the ball to against switching. Now, against switching, most people just spread you out and go, right? But they can move their feet, and they've got great strength and size. So it's really tough to play against.
Coach, but they in interviews they keep saying that we're still figuring it out.
Who's that?
Well, Harden has said it, and Westbrook has said it on different times.
Yeah.
We're obviously in the home stretch. Is that something that you see, or?
No, everybody, all of us want to be playing better, a month and a half from now than we are now. But they're on a pretty good pace, and the way that they're attacking you offensively seems simple and fits perfect to their strengths, and they just take advantage of every mistake you make. And sometimes you guard them great and they score anyways. And then on the other end, again, I think they're, that's part of, you have to switch, you have to be physical and you have to communicate. And so that's part of it too, but they do both well.
Brad, taking a Kaizen approach, what can Jason Tatum improve upon?
He's got a lot of room to improve, which is good. We saw that in the West Coast. In the Lakers game, he saw a bunch of doubles, and we watched those all as a team. And then in the Utah game, I thought he was way better against them. And that's just because he sees some of that stuff for the first time, or he's not. That's the thing about the special players in the league, and Harden's a good example of this. Is he's seen everything, but he's seen it for years and years and years now. And even the doubles that maybe haven't come as frequently as they do now, he's seen them at times over the last couple years. So Tatum's greatest strength to me is his emotional ability to be great in any moment, and his ability to quickly learn something. I always remember one of his first exhibition games. Charlotte ran a play that a lot of NBA teams run. We had not gone through it in any way. Got burned on the first one, and on the second one he figured it out. And that's why I think he's got a chance to be really special. But he'd be the first to tell you he's not finished, and he can still get a lot better, and because he's going to see all this new stuff.
Thanks, Drew.
Thanks.